Hey you guys, what's up? It is Hubalubalu back with another video, and this time Horizon Chase Turbo review for the Nintendo Switch. Now I have to start off by saying this is a $20 game, and I did have a little bit of back thoughts about it because it was what I thought what old school racing was, and I thought it wouldn't be anything else. But at the same time, it strung out perfectly. It was a great game, and I'm gonna love telling you why. And thanks again to the guys down at the newodyssey.ga for giving me this code to review for you guys. By the way, this game is gonna get a physical release by PM Studios and Acti, which is pretty cool for all you collectors out there, and perfect timing for this review. This game was inspired by the 80s and 90s game Outrun, Top Gear, Rush, and so many other racers and cabinet arcades. Now this game also offers up to 4 players, which is awesome. As soon as it hits 3 people local players, the 60 FPS rate goes down a little bit, so you might want to be wary about that. But at the same time, it gives you 4 players, so I'm not giving a crap. And if you guys think it's a little challenge adding someone into multiplayer, all you got to do is add the controller, and boom, in the bottom right hand corner, your screen will be dual. It also goes through tournament mode, endurance, and playground. However, you have to unlock each one in a specific category, so you have to unlock all the master tournaments, to unlock the endurance, or you have to finish all of World Tour to unlock Playground. It gets a little bit annoying because you have to finish the whole thing, and the actual game is pretty long itself. So for tournament mode, you have 3 difficulties. Each difficulty has a certain amount of races that you have to win and gold medal in. As you get to the higher difficulty, you're going to have more races to finish. For Playground, it's a little bit differently. Here, you can race other people against their times and try to beat them as quick as possible for each map. And Playground doesn't mean you can go wherever you want. It means that there are certain challenges that people have during seasons. Now, when these seasons are up, the maps will change and the restrictions will change as well. The cars that they give you are different types of cars that you unlock in the game, which I think are pretty cool, but a little bit of restriction because I want to use these in the actual world tournament. But I'm pretty sure these are the ones you unlock later when you complete all the gold medals, but it's a cool thing to see them outside of the world tournament. But for now, there are only 5 maps, and each map has a harder difficulty with restrictions for you to challenge yourself. And at the end of those races, your times will be posted against the other global scores. And finally, endurance mode. Here, you try to race and win as many races as possible to come in the top 5. Now, you try to do this as many times as possible until you get tired. It's also a nice, fun, and unique way of new things to add to racing games. So on top of this game, working like an old school racer, you have your control stick, you have your gas, nitro, and you have your brake. I never really used brake a lot because the amount of attributes you get in the races that you are doing will actually benefit you more than actually braking, but we'll get into that later. And if you don't like using the joystick, they allow you to use the arrows, and you can change a couple of the other buttons as well. And I'll teach you guys the boost trick for the beginning of the game. As soon as it hits 1, right after the 1, you hold the gas down, because then if you hold it right when 1 hits, it'll go too fast and you'll drift out. So now there are 12 levels. Each one is a different city around the world. Now each city has its own 3 levels. Now in those 3 cities, there are 2 to 4 races in each one that you can challenge. So the object of this whole game is to unlock as many coins and points as you can see in this top right hand corner, to unlock as many cars and different areas that you can achieve. So now going through all these levels, the things you want to do is pretty much place first, which will get you the most coins to progress into the future. And then at the same point, you want to collect those blue coins that you see on the road itself, because these also add on and help you get that super trophy for each single race. Now these super trophies, which are trophies that you can have if you come in first and complete all the blue coins, can get you different cars from each city. Now each city has 1 different car, but you have to complete each race by getting a super trophy. And you might think it's really easy going around to these blue coins left and right, but I have to tell you right now, as soon as you start racing, you're gonna see the challenge in this game. As you can tell in this game, it's really fast paced, and that left and rights are gonna be needing a little bit more help with the map, because if you don't memorize these maps quick enough or run them a lot, then that first race you're gonna run is gonna be a little bit shaky. Along with this fast gameplay is the amount of dumb and smart AI in this game. I have to say right now, you always start in the back of the race, but to climb little by little, especially into narrow passages, is so annoying but challenging at the same time. And it makes me cringe my hair every time I hit a car, because every time you bump a car in front of you, you slow down enough, but at the same time, the AI is so smart behind you that they can easily come around you and pass you again. So it becomes this kind of cat and mouse thing where you never want to hit somebody, but if somebody hits you in the back, it propels you even more, which is a good thing, because I always question that, and I was like, if you get hit, don't you think it would be a little bit more chaotic? But a lot of things happen in this game. It's so fast. All these cars are hitting. If everything hit at the same time and it all crashed, then the game would probably be dead. But at the same time, if you're turning and you hit the onside sign roads that help you turn left or right, I think if you go faster than you are slower, you actually speed up the momentum of your car flipping over and then somehow go faster than where you are slow. I know it's really confusing, but you have to play the game. The game is really fast. If you guys love fast-paced racing old school games, then this is definitely one to grab. So now getting more into each city has an upgrade race. Each upgrade race can either give you steer and fuel, speed and acceleration, nitro and steering, or acceleration and steering. Now it might be a little bit confusing, but after you finish each race, which I think you have to be top 3 in each one, there are no blue coins by the way, so it's just a regular race, just finish first. Each car in your garage gets that same attribute, not just one car that you choose, which I also think was really fun. But at the same time, the cars are so different that you need a faster car all the time, so you're going to be using a couple of cars all the time instead of all of them. A neat thing that they actually did in this game that I actually saw later was the fact that they put silver, red, and gold borderings around the city towns, I don't really know what to call them, the city maps that you play on, to help you categorize which race you're actually first, second, or if you got a super trophy, which really helps because sometimes you don't want to be going around the map left and right and then finding one race that you're like, oh, I finished this one, but which was the one I need to finish. It was also really helpful. Another point I forgot to hit on was the nitro boost and the gas. The gas is something that is not as needed as it is in the later game because the tracks are a little longer, but you have a certain gas amount in each car. Now each car gas can is one little bar, and each race is going to have a certain area where you have only maybe a couple gas cans or maybe a plethora of gas cans depending on where you race. But you always want to be very certain that you always have a good amount of gas, because also in the end, if you actually have more gas, it actually adds on to the amount of points that you have along with the blue coins and if you finish first, second, or third. The maps were awesome in this game. They weren't overbearing with great graphics or anything like that, but these 16-bit polygon styled graphics that showed major areas of Tokyo, Spain, Brazil, I think there was Egypt on one maybe, I know there was a United States one, but each one had like San Francisco Bridge or the Tokyo Tower or Kilimanjaro, like something that enabled you to understand that you were in a different area, which was really nice because you could see it in the background and the lighting was also very, very helpful. And it just expanded the range of actually being in just a normal flat race. But at some points, the weathering and the nighttime were a little bit challenging, especially if you want to play outside. A couple of the night races actually had no lights, and I understand that because they guided you by lights, but a couple of the other races, they actually have sun to night races that go through each lap, and as soon as it hits night, you really can't see unless you're following the car in front of you or if you're looking at the map the whole time. So I have to say that the night and day ones kind of hit a little bit, but I love the weathering and the maps themselves. So for the cars in this game, I didn't unlock them all, but I didn't really feel like doing all the races because they are a little bit long and the races are a little bit challenging. Each car is different depending on what you want to race, but I would say I stick to the Corvette pretty much in the beginning, and then I stick to the smaller looking Corvette. But the cool thing about it was, not they just had these one cars and the one color, you could switch through 5 or 6 colors that they had. Not that they were the greatest colors, but another appreciation of just another addition to having something different. And by the way, they do have up to 25 plus cars, which is also a nice thing to add on. Now to the graphics and performance of this game. Again, 16-bit polygon styled graphics, it looked awesome. I looked at the braking or the tire treading on the smoke, and I just couldn't take my eyes away from it. The graphic just, it looks so fluid, so cool, so nice, so dynamic, that I just loved how it looked. Anytime there was like a big skid or something like that, it would just like capture my eye a little bit more. I loved the graphics in this game. The performance, I would say, did very well. Other than the up to 3 to 4 players thing where it drops FPS, the performance was really nice. I did have a couple of problems in the starting of the game. When I first downloaded it, I started collecting blue coins, and for some reason, as soon as I collected a blue coin line all together in one, it would jump freeze as soon as I collected the last coin. And I wish I would have played it on recording so you guys could see it. But then I was like, oh, that doesn't matter. It's probably just running a little bit newer game. And then I started the next race, and it did the same exact thing. But thankfully, it didn't happen for the rest of the game. And that was literally the only graphics problem that I had in this game. Other than that, the last thing that did annoy me was, in this game you can post your race times online, which is a big plus because everyone likes being number one, but unfortunately you can't play online, so that's a big minus. At the same time, the game itself always wants you to hook into a network connection, and I'm at the last bar of my Wi-Fi, and I always turn it off on airplane mode, and so I don't automatically connect, but for some reason it always pops off every single race I try to do, because it always tries to add the race time to the online network, because it reaches the online network. And I thought this was a bit annoying because it lags a little where I start a race and then it'll pop up again, and it just gets very annoying. But at the same time, it didn't affect my race because they do a nifty little thing where instead of automatically resuming the race, they count down 3, 2, 1, which is a big helpful thing, because you're not just ready to go as soon as you press resume. You have to hold the trigger, make sure you have your same speed, and then go on to the rest of the race to make sure you're turning at the right time. Good job on their part. Now, finally, the last thing in this game is I'm going to be talking about the music, which was done by Barry Leach, and he does a lot of retro arcade style music where it's very fast, upbeat. All those old school racing games always have that very like up-styled, very happy, energetic music, and I really thought that it fit so well that I couldn't really hear it most of the time because it just flowed so well into the game that it just fit so perfectly. Finally, the value of this game, I know I've said it before, it is $19.99, but I was very skeptical about this game because eShop games that are $20 that aren't really AAAs have me worried, because sometimes it's just not in it or it's just too short. And I have to tell you right now, if you guys love racing games, pick this up. It is going to be an awesome pickup. If you haven't yet and you want to try old school racing games, this is a really fun thing to dip into because the graphics themselves are even better. You get a whole different style of different cities. Maps are really fun. Each one's very intricate, very creative. And then at the same point, there's a lot of cars to unlock, all the maps to unlock. And plus, guys, it's coming out on physical for the Nintendo Switch. Alright guys, so for my final rating of Horizon Chase Turbo on the Nintendo Switch, it's going to be, I'm gonna give it a 9 to a 9.5. I gave it a 9.1, I think, on the game review from the New Game Odyssey. I just really think a 9 to a 9.5 fits it perfectly. There's nothing really anything I could say bad about this game other than those few glitches that weren't even anything to harp about. It's a fun game. I really recommend it to everybody who does like racing. The game is really easy to play on the go. There's so many cars, there's so many maps, there's so many things to do in this game that $20 doesn't seem too much in the end at all, because there's just so much time that you could waste on this game, and at the same point you're just having so much fun. Alright guys, that was my Nintendo Switch review for Horizon Chase Turbo. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, comment down below if you have any questions about the game, or in general, I would say. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram for all my art and gaming updates about everything, and more videos to come. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time.